Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Auburn Live Show, Recruiting Edition, also known as the River Freaking Pod. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. And if you're not a member of that site, you damn sure should be. $1. $1 for a full year right now. Get signed up, get taking advantage of this opportunity, because we are going to have some great content, some great stuff on the horizon. Lots going on in the month of July. We will turn the page tonight at midnight. Today is Thursday, June the 30th, 2022. And we're going to get to all that in a minute. But first, I'm joined by my two big-time cohorts, Mr. Jhead, Mr. Cole Pinkston. Jhead, how you doing, big dog?
I am doing good, brother. Doing good. Looking forward to talking some football with you guys today. Seeing if we can't get a slump buster maybe by tomorrow at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
A little bit better. And what a slump buster a 4-star running back would be, right?
Oh, Cole Pinkston, how the hell are you down there at the what lake are you at?
It's Winnehaha, I think is the name of it. It's up in I'm just kidding. It's the Alabama River.
Yeah, Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, one of those. I just made something up for that. Alabama River, the good old river.
Oh, so yep. Can you cast across it?
Sure.
Oh, really?
Almost.
Yeah, that's my kind of rivers, man. I don't like the big. I don't like the big rivers. I like to be able to cast across the river.
At least in this little slough we're in, you can pretty much. When you get out in the open, it's a little bigger, but yeah.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, man.
Let's take a deep breath. June is coming to a close, fellas. June is coming to a close. The work has been put in. It's time to see if this work is going to result in commitments. We started the week very optimistic about Auburn's chances of at least adding 2 commitments. Since then, strangely enough, Carmelo English, the 4-star wide receiver from Central Phoenix City, has decided to postpone his announcement. He was going to announce on Friday. I was very confident that would have been Auburn. Was very confident that would have been Auburn, which would have been huge because we all know with the position of need there at wide receiver for Auburn. He's a local kid down at 30 minutes down the road. Had some personal things going on in his life. I don't think it was anything, although I do think Penn State has gotten involved. I think Alabama probably gave him a call, Michigan State. But I don't think that was the reason for his postponement. We'll see. Will he make a commitment before the end of the month? Will he show up at Big Cat? Things we'll be watching in the future. Now, the one person who did not postpone his commitment date is 4-star running back Jeremiah Cobb from Montgomery Catholic. Will announce his commitment tomorrow, Friday, at around noon Central Time, I believe is the proposed time. And we all have talked about this. We felt good about him for a while now. I will say this. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. His announcement that he was announcing Friday kind of came out of the blue. And I think it made some people go, oh, whoa. Like, I thought we were good here. He wasn't going to do it for a couple of weeks. Now he's doing it Fridays. We've seen what Clemson's been able to do with setting up their commitments, and it's been a wild ride. However, we still feeling good, Cole?
Yep. Yeah, I think Auburn's in the driver's seat, and maybe moving it up to July 5th was because that official visit to Auburn was so good. And
July 1st.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's why he went ahead and did that. And just because he felt at home there, and that was the sort of the visit that knocked it home, as we've talked about. And Cadillac Williams, they got that relationship, so it seems like Auburn's in a really good spot.
And I think since his Auburn visit, he visited Clemson first. He came to Auburn, then this past weekend he went to Tennessee. Comes home 2 days later. I think within 24 hours he was ready to announce his commitment. But we all still feel like the initial storm of concern there was, oh my gosh, surprise, maybe not concern, but surprise that he was going to announce this week. Kind of put some doubt in there temporarily. But I think we all feel really comfortable that he will commit to Auburn on Friday. Jhead, what if he does? Big commitment?
It is a massive commitment. And look, not just from the standpoint of hey, we need some momentum. But this is a fantastic player. I mean, he compares very favorably to me to Alvin Kamara, who would be a picture-perfect fit for Auburn's offense. He's got the ability to make a house call from any place on the field, catches the ball extremely well. His body's still developing, so he's going to play at 200-plus pounds, which means that he can run in between the tackles. Nice vision. Just a really great pickup all the way around, and he's the number one running back in the state of Alabama. If you want to make a statement in recruiting, land the number one running back in the state of Alabama. Lord knows we've had some good ones. Carmelo Williams, his future running backs coach, should he pick Auburn, being one of those. So I think you have to feel encouraged by the pedigree. You have to feel encouraged by the prospect in and of himself, and then what this statement means for Auburn should we land his commitment.
Yeah, man, getting him in after all the turmoil and shit that has hit the fan in the past 8-9 months at Auburn, and getting him in. And when you've got Clemson banging down your door and you're saying, no, thank you, I'm good here, that's a big statement.
Well, you know what? At this point, with anybody wanting to get in Auburn's class right now, we've talked about how there's negative recruiting going on, and you know, it's hard to blame anybody to point out the situation that just happened at Auburn. Nobody's blaming anybody for that. That's fair game, I think, because it's out in the open, you know, with the whole blow up with Horton earlier in the year. People are using that against Auburn, and it's hard to get commitments right now. So if anybody were to commit to Auburn right now, you'd have to think that they really love Auburn itself. They love the school, and no matter what happens with Horton, they should probably be pretty solid, it seems like, before we get into the games and seeing what happens with that. So, and I said that about Cobb. You know, he's always seemed to like Auburn, had an affinity to Auburn, and I think that's probably what's paying off too, besides the relationship with Cadillac Williams and Brian Harsin.
I think they believe in Harsin too. I think they're listening to that pitch and going, man, you know what, count me in.
I think a lot of recruits do. I think that's why they keep visiting and they keep coming to see him, and they just need to see, and parents too. Parents need to see the stability. They need to know that he's going to be there. Bottom line.
And when you see a kid like Jeremiah Cobb that's going to make a commitment, it's a high-profile player like him, it speaks to the integrity of the player. They're not being swayed by some of this. They're being strong in their conviction and what they believe and what they think is the best fit for them. And look, say what you want about him on the field, off the field. That says a lot to me as well for you to be able to make a commitment in the middle of all this. So I think high marks on this young man all the way around.
And I do think the official visit, he had been here, I think, 5 or 6 times since November, but the official visit was really put Auburn over the top there with him. Cadillac Williams, as everybody's mentioned, you know, he's a big deal. Yeah. In this recruitment, and Jeremiah said from the get-go, man, this guy's been there, done that. He's done everything I wanted to do. He can show me the way. He can teach me the way to get to where he is. I think that's going to be big. I think getting him committed, man, Auburn needs it. When did Terence Love commit? Back in April?
Yeah.
March.
Needed that one then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
You had Braden Joyner last fall?
I think
he was
December or January. You're right, Cole. It was one of the two. I think it was December.
I think it was a week after signing day.
It was early in the class.
Yes.
Right.
And then it was like 3 or 4 months dry season. Terence Love, 3 to 4 months dry season. Presumably Jeremiah Cobb. We talked about Carmelo English postponing. That would have been big. Was see if he won't reschedule for this month. And then we're still waiting on Brock Glenn, the Elite 11 finalist quarterback from Memphis. Yes. And I think I'm serious. I think we're all, you know, I saw Jhead's reaction when I mentioned his name. It's like, come on, dude, make a move. Make a move. I think Chad Simmons had a story out on 3 yesterday saying he was wanting to do some virtuals with LSU and basically hear them out. And I was rolling my eyes at that.
I'm with you, Jay Lee, because now LSU has moved into his top 5, replacing Mississippi State, who I'm going to be honest, Mississippi State hasn't felt like they've been in this for months. You know, I think they felt like they were out of it as soon as Auburn offered, and then since multiple other, you know, high caliber programs have thrown their hat into the mix, and we'll see. I mean, I just don't know what to expect from him. I'm with you guys. I think you guys called it perfectly on the call-in show. Every day that goes by, you lose a little bit more confidence that he's going to commit to Auburn. But there are other quarterbacks out there. I think there are other quarterbacks that this staff has high on their board that they'll probably focus attention on should Brock Glenn go elsewhere. Does it hurt the perception of this class? Maybe. But I think Keldrick Falk, who we probably will pivot to next, would be a much bigger win than Brock Glenn at this point, and the need in this class for a high-profile edge.
He is next. Keldrick Falk, the 4-star edge from Highland Home, will announce his commitment July the 5th, which I believe is Tuesday. Auburn, Florida, Florida State, Clemson, his finalist. And I think we all three feel like it's I'd be shocked if he went to Florida. I really would. And shit, it wouldn't be the first time I've been shocked. But I personally feel like it's Auburn, Clemson, Florida State.
Yeah.
Cole, you went and saw him this morning. What thoughts on Keldrick Falk?
Boy, that
right there is the common theme so far.
I have some good connections with where he lives. I've kind of been around that part of the country for a while. Know a lot of people that know him. So I've been digging on him for a while now, trying to figure out where he's leaning, and really nobody, even people close to him, and I don't think they're just telling me that. They really don't know. And in fact, a few of them have told me that he wasn't sure quite yet. He's still trying to make up his mind. And talking to him this morning, I really think that's true. I think he has a good idea, but does he have just a definite answer today, this morning? I don't think so. I think it's still a toss-up between all four, personally. He has glowing things to say about every program, and has great relationships, can just point out relationships at each staff. And I just left there thinking, man, I don't know. I just don't know. I can't make a decision on that one. It seems like this is what I gather just talking to everyone around him and him and his brother, everyone. It seems like Auburn is the constant, right? Where Clemson might be mentioned by someone, Auburn's always mentioned too. Where that next person might not talk about Clemson, they talk about Florida State. They also mention Auburn. So is Auburn the one school that stands out? It's possible. It seems like that when talking to people. And that's why I put in a prediction. I just feel like, I feel like Auburn is the school that he chooses. I don't have a lot of confidence in that right now, but that's my gut feeling after talking to him today too.
Jhead, how you feeling, big dog?
Okay, so earlier in the week, I had mentioned that I thought that he was trending to Clemson. Then nominated myself for Female Dog of the Week and have completely backed off that. I was waiting for this show to say that, but
you denominated yourself.
Yeah, well, no, I can still be Female Dog of the Week. We can handle that, man. Maybe Dingleberry of the Week.
It's in ink, buddy. It's in ink.
I hear you. But what I would say is what I'm backing off of is that he's trending to Clemson. I do think it's a three-way battle between Clemson, Auburn, and Florida State. And if I have to narrow it down, it's probably Auburn or Florida State. When I've asked around, I do know that there is a preference for him to be closer to family. The two schools that are probably in closest proximity to his hometown are obviously Auburn and Florida State. I think that is important to his mother, who is a critical figure in this recruitment. And as Pat Dye used to say, you got to win mama if you're going to get a commitment some days. So
yep.
I think she's going to be very important in this decision-making process. Do I know who that's going to be today? I do not. I would probably take the field, would be my answer if you were asked to push me. But I do believe push come to shove, it's Auburn or Florida State. I mean, I just don't know which way it's going to go. I mean, he has really kept this too close to the vest.
He has. I give him that.
I will say this, Jhead, and I'm with you on everything that you said. I've thought about this guy a lot. There's so many things lining up for Auburn. There's so many things working in Auburn's favor. The proximity to home, the need at the edge position. He's an Auburn dude. The official visit knocked it out of the park with him and his mom. There's so many things working in Auburn's favor here. It's hard for me to say that he wouldn't choose Auburn, which is why I put in a prediction. I think after his official visit, I think I did, because he was going to, he was on high. He was coming back for Big Cat. He was going to announce shortly thereafter or shortly before. Everything looked like it was lining up for Auburn to get him, and we know Auburn made him a top priority at the edge spot, and it was just, why wouldn't he choose Auburn at this point, right?
Right.
But yet here we are, and I'm with you. As of today, and I checked this right before we came on the show, I don't think there's a lot of confidence at Auburn right now. And, whether it's the boosters, the February coup, the NIL or lack thereof, I would take right now, put a gun to my head, I'm going to take the field.
Yeah.
And then, hey, ask me in about 3 hours. I mean, seriously, right? But right now, as we're filming this, I have the field.
Yeah,
and I don't know which one, and it doesn't really matter. I've always been Auburn of the field, and right now I would say the field.
Yeah,
well, Jeffrey, I'll add this too. I think, just from what I could understand, there seems to be two things that matter a lot to him and his family. One being proximity to home, and two being relationships with coaches, which that's always, those are always important for every recruit, but they seem to be some big factors. And it's funny, Florida State's really not as far from where he's located as you would think. I mean, it's not too far. It's in driving range. It's, it's close enough to travel and go watch games and make it back home if you need to for whatever. So I would almost put Auburn and Florida State in the category of close enough to home. And then Clemson and Florida, he's got great relationships with the coaches there. And Billy Napier is going to have at least 2 or 3 years. And Dabo's not going anywhere. So there's your stability. And then Florida State and Auburn, Mike Norvell and Brian Harsin are considered possibly on the hot seat right now.
So back, hold on. Let me jump in here with some Googling there, Jhead.
Okay.
From Highland Home to Tallahassee, according to Google Maps, is 3.5 hours.
There you go. Yeah, it's closer to home than you think for him.
Significantly.
Yeah.
Significantly. And he's been recruited by the same guys at Florida State for the last 2 years, probably the deepest relationships with anyone. Now, he's probably got a better relationship with the campus of Auburn than any place else. I would bet to say he's been to Auburn more than anywhere. But as far as coaches that are actively recruiting him, the edge coach has been recruiting him for 2 years at Florida State. Austin Tucker, who is a former GA at Auburn, as well as, I think, a former coach at Hewitt Trustful. I think he was the offensive coordinator there for the head coach for a minute, has had a relationship with him for a very long time as well. It was just why Florida State probably, to me, right now, that's, if I'm saying it's 50-50 Auburn or Auburn or somebody, it's Auburn or Florida State. And I don't know. And it could be Clemson. It could be, look, they're recruiting right now at a lights out level. And I'm not going to say Nick Eason can't get this, can't get this commitment. He's definitely capable of doing so.
Yeah. And he
Highland Home to Clemson is 5.5 hours.
He did mention too, as well, that he had a great relationship with Nick Eason when he was at Auburn. And that carried over to Clemson, and he sort of got him in, with Clemson and all that. But he hammered home that Jimmy Brumball really did a good job as well, building that relationship. So, look, he likes all 4 schools a lot, guys. Not one of those schools is he going, I like this one a little bit less. It's a tough decision for him. That's what I gathered from talking to him. And I said gut feeling Auburn, and that's just kind of where I am. Like Jeffrey said, at this hour. So I'm still saying that I don't know, and I don't think he quite knows yet either. So that's where we're at, and that's as far as I can go with it right now.
I agree with that.
I would say the school that scares me the most would be Clemson, only because of Nick Eason.
Yeah. That's a big one.
So that's and that's why, Jhead, when you posted trending to Clemson, shit, man, that was lining up with everything I was hearing too.
Yeah. It just That's the thing is that nothing sells hope and despair like recruiting. And I'm talking about flipping between the hour to the day. It just, it's a wild ride. And hopefully this one plays out in our favor, but who knows? Like you said, I don't think anyone knows, and I probably am going to pick the field right now, push come to shove, making a prediction. I don't have a good feel for it.
I did ask him as well, are you shutting things down when you make your commitment? Are you going to take more visits, whatever? And he thought about it for a minute. He said, yeah, I'd probably still get out there. I mean, look, guys, he's, if he has a chance to go watch some games this season, he's going to do that. So I don't think the commitment's going to stop him from doing that with any of his top schools, and he likes all of them too. So there's always that to remember with still some months to go here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know we said this repeatedly on this show and the call-in show and everywhere else, but man, the class going into the season is going to look so different from the class coming, at the end. Listen, I think Hope wrote about it earlier. I'm sure Cole has too. Keith has too. No, it was Keith. That's who it was. Man, all these guys can be elsewhere, especially in-state guys right now. Penn State, Clemson. If Auburn's winning, the script will get flipped, and probably a couple of commitments.
I agree. Yeah.
Signing day is not in August. Signing day is not in August. It was such a whirlwind June with so many big time guys visiting, and I guess you thought. Well, I think I had it. There was 28 official visitors in the 2023 class. You get 56 official visits plus 6 from last year if you didn't use them. So technically 62 official visits. Auburn's halfway there. Auburn has at least half, if not more, official visits left to give in the fall, and you already got some guys locked in for Penn State. You beat Penn State. You somehow come out of that. You come out of the first 5 games 5-0. I think Georgia's is a 6th game.
Yes, Georgia's the 6th game. Ole Miss is the 7th. You're right.
7th. Ole Miss is the 7th, which is a winnable game too. You're talking 6-1.
That would be some really good momentum. Then you get a bye week and you get Arkansas at home.
Gosh, man, there's so many questions and possibilities and opportunities, and it's just every time I look at that schedule, I have a different thought on it every single time.
I'm with you, Cole. And just think about this. So what if Jay Lee says comes to fruition? What if we're 6-1 rolling into a bye week? And now every coach on that staff can get on the road and go see somebody that they want in this class. What kind of statement do you think that makes? Auburn's probably ranked in the top 25 with who they've beaten at that point. They're 6-1. Every school in the ACC and the SEC that recruits in our footprint has told them that Brian Harson's not going to be there. What do you think that's going to mean for them to be able to walk in that school and say, hey, buddy?
Yeah.
Maybe told you we weren't going to be here.
Can you believe me now? How you like me now?
Yeah, right. Yep.
I think traditionally, we all, anybody associated with Auburn, been to the school, fan of the school, whatever it is, you look at the SEC games this year, the SEC slate. I don't think anybody expects Auburn to beat the reigning national champions.
No.
Georgia, don't think anybody expects to go on the road and beat Alabama.
No.
The rest, you've got Missouri, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Arkansas. Those are all, in my opinion, the games that you need to win, the games that you should win.
Yeah.
And I talked about you win the games you're supposed to, and then maybe 1 or 2 that you're not. You win the games that you're supposed to. Then I think toss-ups, Texas A&M, LSU. And, I mean, seriously, Arkansas's going to be a lot better than people. I mean, I'm not – I guess namesake-wise, Arkansas – it's Arkansas, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if they look at Auburn the way we look at Arkansas. Well, Auburn, they probably beat Auburn more than we probably give them credit for. I know Tuberville couldn't beat them.
Well,
Gus is on the streak, though.
In the last decade, Auburn has owned them.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Gus Bowl. I think Gus went 6-1 against Arkansas.
Yeah, Did he lose to him at all? I don't think he lost to
He
him.
did. He went out there in 2015 with Sean White.
Oh,
He
yeah,
lost in a
yeah.
shootout
Sure did.
to Brett Beal.
That shit don't count.
Yeah.
That don't count.
So if you're rotating
bad.
3 quarterbacks, then you just scratch it off. That doesn't
Yeah, man.
Lord have mercy. What a
You know,
clutch.
Bielema got hammered that night, brother. I mean, he needed that one.
Another toss up. It's not an SEC school, but Penn State.
Yes,
State,
very
yeah.
much toss-up game.
Yep. You know,
2, 3, 4, 5. You go. Those are your 9 games. Those are your 8 SEC games in your Penn State game, or is that 7?
nobody talks about that Western Kentucky game that's slipped in at the end. They're kind of a stronger than you want opponent at that part of the schedule. Am I wrong to think that?
Yes.
No, well, all right. So look, their offensive coordinator, Zach Kidley, who also was looked at here by this staff, I believe, to potentially fill that position, has left and gone to Texas Tech. How does that offense look this year? Not only losing him, but what is it, Bailey Zappi?
Zappi. They lost him, right?
Yeah, he got drafted by the Patriots. So I just don't know what to expect from a mid-major team in the Conference USA. How are they going to rebound after losing a big-time player like that and an offensive coordinator that's on the rise?
I'll tell you what, Marcus Bragg has 6 sacks in that game. Calling it now.
Oh,
Not really.
Look,
might
he
have
got
won.
6 tackles. I'm going to call it a victory.
He might have one.
okay. So some more July commitments before we get off. I think Chad had Jakeem Jackson.
Yes.
Who's got a strongest final 6, as you'll see.
Yep.
Auburn, Alabama, freaking Florida,
Tennessee, Penn State.
Penn State. Was Florida State in there? Maybe it was.
I think it was Miami. But probably the buzz I hear the most is Auburn, Tennessee, Florida. And that's what I posted. But those are the 3 schools that seem to be trending at this time. It was Georgia. That was not Miami.
Damn.
Yeah, right.
And nobody knew who he was a month ago.
No.
Nothing. I remember when I first heard he was visiting, I was like, "Who's that guy?" Went and looked at his profile. Nobody had written anything about him. His offer sheet looked good. I was like, I've never heard of it. He's a Tashard Van Bell kind of guy. Nobody really knows about him in the beginning, and then everybody wants him at the end.
Shows you the value of eval season, that's for sure.
Jakeem Jackson,
Lewis Carter has said he said he's going to decide July, August time frame.
Yep, Lewis Carter.
Uh,
Keeping an eye on, I guess you'd keep an eye on Raquez McElderry to see what he does. If he has a decision anytime, if he decides he's going to look around from Georgia. I don't think Auburn's the only school he'd be looking at other than Georgia personally. So
you guys know better on that one than I do. I've seen reports that Alabama is interested, so we'll see. I don't know what to expect from Raquez at this point. I thought that he was going to make a move earlier than he has, and I haven't seen an announcement to this point. I think he's somebody, if I'm being completely honest, may have gotten caught up in some of these visits, but he'll make a decision. I do think he's going to make a decision. I just don't think it's going to be right now. I think he's going to let things play out, and as things get closer to the season, you may see some action there.
Right.
I think he originally said, or when he left his visit here, I think he said July he wanted to have a final decision.
Correct.
I think that's what he said. But I'm with you, man. You never know with this guy, and even when if he does make a final decision, nothing's final with him, more so than others.
Yeah,
He likes, but if he were to flip, certainly would look good.
Yeah, it would.
It would.
It sure would. Jelani.
What about the? Yeah, there you go. I was going to ask about the.
Jelani Thurman has said that he's going to have a July decision. No date just yet, but probably towards the end of the month. And you're looking at Ohio State, Auburn, Michigan State. I didn't like, I know Alabama thinks they're in it for every kid, but my intel says it's those 3, and it is a legitimate 3-way battle.
Yeah, I think so too. Definitely. Michigan State is in this one 100%.
No, they're definitely in it, and I think he had a good visit to Ohio State. I don't think that can be discounted with what they've done in recruiting here lately either.
Yeah, no doubt.
Obviously, the relationships are deep with Auburn. The need is deep with Auburn. And I'm going to parrot Jay Lee here. Whoever he commits to in July, I think if all things being equal, this coaching staff is in place. We're winning 8 ball games, 7, 8 ball games. Jelani Thurman's going to end up at Auburn, regardless of who he commits to in July. That's just kind of my feel point.
I'll add this about Jelani. We don't talk about him a lot, but I really think Brad Bedell is a good recruiter and has a good chance to win out with who he targets heavily. I think he's one of the best recruiters on the staff quietly. Tight end hasn't been a huge need, so we haven't talked about him too much, but I think he does a good job, man. I wouldn't count him out completely is my point.
Jaylee, what's your thought?
Well, to me, Big Cat is going to be a big indication on what a lot of these guys are going to do. Who shows up, who doesn't, who's committed and still shows up, who's committed and doesn't. We already know Quay and Rusall and James Smith are going to go to Florida's Friday Night Lights the night before. They don't plan on getting back to Auburn for that. I don't think that's a big deal.
No.
They've been here. Good God. I don't know how.
And they're not deciding until late season.
Yeah, they'll probably be signing day decisions, if I had to guess.
I just got another non-vote of confidence in Keldrick Falk to Auburn.
So, yep. Change about a minute, huh?
Yeah, that field pick's looking pretty good, huh?
Man, I tell you what.
Man.
Oh, boy.
Covering recruiting is hard some days, boys.
Well, I mean, that's how I opened it up when y'all asked me about him, talking to him this morning. I don't know. Don't have a clue. So I got no indication that any school was above any other this morning, and can't feel good about that if you're Auburn.
Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and I'm with you guys on this. I haven't seen a positive report from anybody else. You know what I mean? Like, obviously,
that's true.
You know what I mean? The most of the connections on this show are obviously to the Auburn staff, but you haven't seen a report from anybody else saying, "Hey, we feel great about this kid. Well, we think we got him."
Because of that is why I said, in talking to people that know him, that are around him, sources close, whatever you want to call it, Auburn is the one constant that's always mentioned. It just feels like to other people that it makes the most sense that he would pick Auburn. That doesn't mean he would. It just means that they're mentioned more than others combined. Okay, so take that how you will. I think that's a good point though, Jhead. There aren't any just highly confident, reports coming out from all these other schools. Nobody's overly confident about it.
No, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably going to wait till the scoop master himself, Chad Simmons, has his,
yeah.
I say, hey, this is how I feel at this point.
But man, I went straight to the horse's mouth, and I'm not confident. So,
do we know? Is he holding a ceremony or something?
Yes, he is on. I think it's at 10:00 on July 5th or noon, maybe. It'll be at the school or across the street from the school, something like that. He showed me where it was today.
Ceremony.
But yep, it'll be July 5th. And
what did you say? What time, Cole?
I think it's somewhere in that 10 to 12 range. I think he said 10, but he might have said 12. I have to go back to the recording. He told me there, but which is 5 days away, 6 days away, less than a week.
Yep, Tuesday.
I'd say the way this one's changing right now, there's going to be more changes. That's just I'd feel the most confident making that prediction, that more changes are to come. I don't know what they'll be.
Stanton Ramil, is he?
He's a candidate for sure. I've seen where he said to various different recruiting services where he's
going to make a decision here relatively soon. He's used all 5 of his official visits. I think he's been to every school in his top 6 that he's considering. Been very complimentary of Auburn, complimentary of Tennessee, Penn State, Pitt. I didn't see much about North Carolina, even though he officially visited them, and I have not seen a report from Michigan State as to how that visit went. But those are your 6 teams that are all jockeying for his commitment. What you thinking there, Jay?
Anybody else? What's that?
Connor Liu, probably. I think
Connor Liu is
There you
probably
go.
getting close.
Yeah.
And we don't know. Josh Horton at one time said he was going to do it in July, but it seems like he's going to hold off now.
he told Keith he was going to push it. I saw the story, and that was the feel I got, that he was – a lot of schools have come in on him. I think Tennessee and Florida have made a big impression here. Obviously, UCF has a deep relationship with Travis Williams there.
Yeah.
Auburn's done a great job, and
Well, all you got to do with him is see him in person, and you're interested. So
holy, did you just see that?
interesting.
What?
USC and UCLA plan to leave the Pac-12 for the Big Ten as early as 2024.
Philip Marshall.
Bro, I can't.
Oh man.
Appreciate the assist there, Zach.
Yeah.
The scenes. That's
Yeah, Zach McKinnell just sent us in that USC, UCLA plan to leave the Pac-12 for the Big Ten.
college landscape's changing, JV. I mean, listen, we're not far away from doing away with what we know as college football today, and it's going to be just several super conferences.
Yeah, I think it will. Will the NCAA still be around? That's a good question too.
They'll be around. They'll just be overseeing, Delta State.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The D2s, Jack State.
Jack State.
All right, so to summarize, we will continue to await the commitments of Brock Glenn, the quarterback from Memphis. We will continue to await the commitment of wide receiver Carmelo English.
Yes.
We'll get news on Jeremiah Cobb on Friday. We all feel like he is locked in with Auburn, or he will be. Keldrick Falk, we've got the field. Cole says he's got a toss-up. He will announce Tuesday morning before noon. Jakeem Jackson was going to be later in the month. Again, by the middle of the month, or if these guys are planning to become a Big Cat, be interesting to see.
Yep.
Be interesting to see who shows up for Big Cat. Will there be a lot of underclassmen there? Will it be full of guys committed elsewhere? Will Auburn be making moves on some of these offensive linemen committed elsewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Offensive line, running back, quarterback, wide receiver, defensive line. I tell you what, man. What about this Naquil Bertrand?
Oh, yeah.
That's one to watch.
Top
He
three.
seems very interested.
Auburn, Kentucky, and Texas A&M. Is that right, Jay Lee, from your story, I think? Look, now.
Did you say Kentucky?
Yeah, Kentucky, Texas A&M, and Auburn with the top three, even though he's technically committed to Colorado.
Right. Yeah.
Look, if you're looking at a nose guard and you're trying to secure a commitment from somebody, and the other two top schools are Texas A&M and Kentucky with the way they've recruited defensively the last 4 years, you're in pretty good company as far as that's concerned. I mean, those are Mark Stoops has been able to ID defensive talent as well as anybody, any defensive-minded head coach in the country. Obviously, Mike Elko is no longer with Texas A&M, but they brought in DJ Durkin, a Will Muschamp protege there, who 100% knows how to recruit defensive talent. So if those are the other two schools you're competing against, I think you can feel pretty good regardless of what that kid's ranking is. And I think he really is high on Auburn. Judging by what you wrote, Jay Lee. Now, I haven't talked to anybody with regard to him personally, but what you put in your story, the quotes from him seem pretty compelling that he was very interested in what Auburn had to sell.
Big dude, man. 6'6", 340. I mean, what's Jason Jones?
About that, 6'6", probably 330.
I'd say he's probably just seeing him walking around. He's probably in the 315 range.
Oh wow,
So,
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, he's tall, but
He looks.
he's leaned up a good bit, So, just you add 30 pounds to that. That's the Quill veteran. Pretty. He's got a pretty good frame too, man. From what I can tell. So, a little bit different than a guy like Ian Jaffrard, who they have the same kind of listed height and weight, but he looks a little leaner than Ian at this point.
Bertrand? Is that his name?
Bertrand, I think. That's what it looks like anyway.
Anybody else in July or August?
Let's see.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, you got
Tight ends. Oh yeah, we talked about Jelani.
A linebacker that just visited this Piccoli.
Lewis Carter.
Picciotti.
Picciotti.
That's it. I call him Piccoli. Jesus, man.
Piccoli.
I've watched Fast Times at Richmond High one too many times. No, Phil Picciotti, but I feel like that's trending Oklahoma. He'll be making a decision. But Lewis Carter, Jelani Thurman, Connor Liu. You mentioned Stanton Ramil.
Jakeem
Jackson. I think that's J.C. Hart potentially could be making a decision. If we
he could
put the button there.
I forgot about him. J.C. Hart.
I think J.C. Hart will probably have a decision before maybe football season. So,
I agree.
August, September being the latest for him. Other than that,
Well, I tell you, I was really. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Cole. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to say nobody else comes to mind.
Jhead, are you? All of us. I think we said how many commitments Auburn going to have before the first kickoff. 6 to 8, 8 to 10. You still in that range?
I think they want 8 to 10. What we're going to be at, brother, I might have moved backwards on that one. I think I'm a lot closer to 6 to 8 right now. I think I'm a lot closer.
They'll have 3. I could find 3 to 4 more guys a week or two ago a lot easier than I can now.
Yeah,
like I had Falk, I had English, I had Brock Glenn.
Yeah. Horton.
I never had Horton. From early on. I mean, I got him in my class eventually, but I never had the feel from about May.
No, not this summer, right?
Yeah, May on. He wasn't making a decision early.
Yeah,
that's fair. I thought earlier in the spring he might be the first to pop of those Langston Hughes guys. But
yep, same.
Now he's even said, hey, I'm not in any hurry. I'm probably gonna wait this out, which would be great. I think that works in Auburn's favor. Again, man, these commitments don't mean shit. We know that. But it's the perception, and that's what Auburn needs right now. They need some good pub.
Yep.
They need to grab some good media.
Wouldn't hurt.
Need some headlines.
Probably wouldn't hurt. I'm with you there.
Listen, some goodwill and olive branch for the staff. It shows that that there's some buy-in from people. Not just fans, but prospects that see the future in this team. I mean, recruiting is kind of a glimpse into the future, right? I mean, that's the hope part that's associated with it. And so if they can get some guys, if they can get in that 6 to 8 range and hopefully closer to 8 than 6, then I think that helps 100%. Will we get there? Maybe let me get to the middle of the month of July and I'll be able to tell you a little bit better. I don't know right now. There's so much up in the air. I wish I could be more positive for those that are going to watch this later on. I wish I could tell you 100% we're going to be at 10 commitments like I thought we'd be 2 weeks ago. I don't have a good feel for it right now.
Yep, I concur with that. Definitely a lot has changed in the past week or so. It's been an eventful couple weeks.
It really has. It really has. So Jay Lee is a rundown of who we've got: Jelani Thurman, J.C. Hart, Connor Liu, Stanton Ramil, Keldrick Falk, Carmelo English, Brock Glenn, obviously Cobb with his commitment coming up on the 1st, and then Jakeem Jackson. Those are who we have basically on a watch target list for potential commitments before opening kick.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those guys at this point I would predict to Auburn.
I think you're going to find out in this next month who the elite recruiters are on this staff, who can get commitments during this hard time. You know what I mean? And obviously there are other things that go into that. You know, is the kid ready? You know what I mean? Are there other factors in play? But I think you're going to find out on this staff who the elite recruiters are. If you can get a commitment from a Lewis Carter, from a C-Rob, if you can get a commitment from a Jakeem Jackson, you know what I mean?
Yep.
From Zach. You know, you're going to find out when the chip's down. Can Carnell pull through on Cobb? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's about what it boils down to now. You know, with July, August, September, 3 months, less than 3 months when you start football season. You know, that's what it boils down to for those 3 months until you can show me.
Right. You know what I mean? Is there conviction in that relationship? Can, you know what I mean, can Carmelo English be convinced to, you know, to get on board in the month of July? Can that be worked out? You know, those are 4 guys, and I'm probably out of that list that I'm watching with the inclusion of Jelani Thurman. Those are probably the 5 I'm watching with the most interest that I think we've got the best shot at right now. And I'm not saying we're out of it for Stanton Ramil or Connor Liu. I just don't have a feel at all for what either one of those 2 guys are going to do.
No, me neither.
I think that's fair. I think
I know that Connor Liu likes
a lot
the
of
aviation
unknowns.
program. I know that much. That's all I can tell you there.
Jaylee, I couldn't hear you. What'd you say on that one? A lot of unknowns. Was that it?
A lot of unknowns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is usually not a good sign. Be honest with you.
No.
For late summer commitments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why this will segue into the how about yous this week. Is the Dingleberries and the female dogs of the week. Dude, I got to give everybody but Jhead a pass. Like, I understand.
Oh, boy.
I mean, don't get me wrong, but it was almost like I was reading some of, our regular female dogs of the week, and I'm going,
I feel you, man.
Yeah.
So, back to the how about yous.
Cole,
And I'll tell you this much, man. I'm sure Cole's the same way. Jhead, you've been doing it mentally, but June has it's worn my old ass out, dude. I'm done, son. I am done. Like I'm sure you can. My body language, I'm beat, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for July.
I bet, man. You need a nice trip to Montana to recharge the batteries, Jay Lee.
Absolutely. We're gonna skip over Montana and go up there to Alaska.
There you go. A little salmon fishing, a little trout.
Mm-hmm. You can go up there and fish for some pigs.
I hear you on that.
So y'all got some how about yous?
I do. Cole, you want to go first? I got 3 of them.
Yeah, I just got one. The Nightman Cameth. Going with him this week. I just like I like what he brings.
Is it N-I-G-H-T or K-N-I?
It is N-I-G-H-T. The Nightman.
Yeah, man. I've known him since he was cometh. Nightman cometh.
Oh.
Cameth.
That's a true story. I'm not being dirty or anything.
I got you.
Jay, get your mind out of the damn gutter, dude.
I'm telling you, man. It's just, you know what? We're doing the show a little early today. That's where my mind's at with Jay.
Yeah. Jhead woke up. Jhead woke up like this. Oh, what else you got, Jhead? Who else you got? Oh, I'm sorry, Cole. Is that Cole?
No, that's it. That's just him.
Okay.
This week.
All right.
Just him.
All right, I got 3 different how about yous. On the first one, it's War Dad Eagle 2. In the thread, question for Jhead. Somebody had asked what my background was and how do I come across recruiting information. I'm not going to share that, but within this post, War Dad Eagle 2 posts, he irons Keith's jorts. Literally, when I read that, when I was laughing so hard. The next one is for Granite Tiger in the same thread, and it goes, Jhead is J-Boy's more credible cousin. When they were young, Jhead would hold his head under the water in a pool and give him wedgies. Listen, Jake Crane, if you're watching this show, if it comes across, I think you do a fantastic job. I am not Jake Crane's older brother. For anybody that may have taken that as credible, I pray to God you all thought that was a joke. And last but not least, Not an Insider made a fantastic post on our call-in thread.
Yeah.
Glad to be a part of that moment with you, brother. Thinking about you, obviously a year removed from losing your brother, and I hope that you continue to call in and continue to make great posts on the board.
Yep, that was a good post and a great call from him.
Yeah,
awesome call.
Let me tell you how weird this week it's been. My first, how about you, Kemosabe?
Look, now, I want to double down on that. I want to give Kemosabe one. He's been fantastic for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
He has. I've always liked Kemosabe. I think he's a realist, which
listen, if you want to know how to act like a dingleberry, like a good dingleberry, Kemosabe's showing you the way. Like that's how you do it, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't be a Jhead. Don't be a Jhead. Don't be a Jhead. Be a Kemosabe.
There you go. I'm with you. I like it.
At Blake R. Blake R's big fan, man. We appreciate Blake R. And last week we had a good show last week, and at WDE Mike gave the show 2 rooster tails up.
Oh,
I thought that was hilarious. Just like Nick Cannon. At BBP, Big How Bash at BBP, at Aub 12 SWT, at MA1 Auburn, at Sid with his humping dog meme. I thought that was hilarious. At WDE 33, at Big Slapper. Big Slapper coming strong.
I like Big Slapper, man. He brings good points to the board.
Points.
Talking
with
points.
a T.
Talking
points. At Fat WDE. Imagine what an aggressive wife you must have to name yourself Fat WDE. I'm with you, big dog. I gained 6 pounds in the last week.
Oh, bro.
Big Sexy was taken, so
there you go.
Big Sexy. Big Sexy's good. I'm gonna give old Big Sexy how about you? He had a good week too, I think. He usually does. He's a good poster.
Yeah, he is.
Big Sexy. I had a new guy, man. This guy comes in. He was providing some good stuff. So did Aub 12 SWT, man. They both came in, new subscribers, and started posting some really informative stuff. At Ender, ENDER, Ender. He was good. And then my last one was how about you? Big how about you to Dong Dong via Ishmael.
Yes. Hell of a call.
Dong Dong. Had a great call, man. If y'all are missing the call-in shows on Tuesday, you are certainly missing out, man. We've had some really good calls last week.
For that matter,
this week, we
Solid G needs some recognition for that call.
Solly.
Yes.
What's his name?
I think it's Solly G, SOLLYG. Am I wrong?
Okay. I think you had tagged in the call-in show thread.
Okay. That was awesome, man. We had some legendary. I think we had at least 3 really epic calls this past week. And it's just getting better and better, and we love it, man. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Appreciate you listening. We appreciate the subscribers at Auburn Live on 3. Again, if you're not a member, man, we have a blast over there on the corner of our message board. We've got content rolling out to your ears. and you get it all for $1 right now. Jump on board right now before they take that special off. I think they were supposed to already have ended it, but somebody forgot to tell them, and I'm not going to offer it to them. So y'all get in there, take advantage of that opportunity. $1 for an entire year. Going to have a lot going on the rest of the summer. Big Cat's going to be the next big event, on campus event there at the end of July. But like we mentioned earlier, a lot of commitments, a lot of ups and downs, roller coaster recruitments so far for Auburn. But expecting a big announcement tomorrow for Jeremiah Cobb. Be on there. We'll have a lot of information for that. We appreciate everybody again, man. We really do. For Jhead, for Cole, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. We really appreciate it. Jack McKinnell, jump in here, Big Zach. Zach's he's the man behind the curtain. He's the Wizard of Oz, big dog. We appreciate you, Zach.
Absolutely,
man. Zach's got his own podcast. Zach, what's your podcast, big dog?
The Blue Bloods College Football Podcast, man. We really focus on FCS football, but we talk all levels of college football on there.
I love that, man. I'm as a Jack State part-time student at one point. Yeah, attendee. Yeah, I live there.
Yeah,
I always enjoy the little dudes, man. So appreciate Zach and everything he does for not only this show but our call-in show and everything else. I think for the site. So we appreciate that. Everybody, stay out of the damn left lane, especially July the 4th, man. I am coming for your ass. See you.